Can you believe that China is purposely breeding 6 billion cockroaches in a single building? This isn't a horror movie. It is a business empire generating over $600 million a year. While you spend money to kill a single bug in your kitchen, these farmers are treating them like gold. They feed them 50 tons of garbage a day, turn them into medicine, and sell them for a fortune. Why is China betting its agricultural future on the world's most hated insect? Welcome back to Extreme Agriculture. Today we are entering the most repulsive, yet terrifyingly efficient farm on planet Earth. We are going inside the cockroach empire. To understand why anyone would build a factory to house a billion nightmares, you first have to understand the crisis facing China's cities. It is a crisis of waste. China generates huge amounts of food waste. We are talking about millions of tons of leftover rice, noodles, bones, and oil every single year. For decades, the solution was simple. Dig a hole and bury it in a landfill. But landfills produce methane gas, they poison the groundwater, and frankly, China is running out of space. The government tried incineration, burning the trash. But food waste is wet. It doesn't burn well. It requires massive amounts of energy to dry it out before it can catch fire. It was an engineering failure. So, Chinese agricultural scientists stopped looking at machines and started looking at biology. They needed an organism that could eat anything, reproduce quickly, never get sick, and survive in the harshest conditions imaginable. They didn't need a cow. They didn't need a pig. They needed a biological garbage disposal unit. They found the answer in Paraplaneta americana, the American cockroach. Despite its name, this bug is a global citizen. It is one of the oldest survivors on Earth, dating back 300 million years. Can eat glue, paper, feces, and rotting meat. Can live for a week without its head. It is the ultimate survivor. And some enterprising farmers realized that if you put enough of them in a room, you don't have an infestation, you have a bioreactor. Let's look at the mechanics of this farm. How do you contain a billion insects that are masters of escape? The facility in Jinan is run by Shandong Chaobin Agricultural Technology. From the outside, it looks like a standard concrete warehouse. But inside, it is an engineering marvel designed for containment and efficiency. The environment is strictly controlled. Cockroaches thrive in heat and darkness. The facility is kept at a constant 86 degrees Fahrenheit with 80% humidity. It is a tropical hellscape designed to maximize their metabolism. The faster they burn energy, the more they eat. The interior is stacked with rows of corrugated asbestos cement sheets. These sheets are spaced a few inches apart, creating narrow, dark crevices. Cockroaches are thigmotactic. They love the feeling of being touched on all sides. These sheets maximize the surface area, allowing millions of bugs to pack into a relatively small room. It is vertical farming, but for pests. But the biggest engineering challenge is security. If an earthquake happened or a wall cracked, and a billion cockroaches escaped into the local ecosystem, it would be an ecological catastrophe of biblical proportions. It would destroy local agriculture and spread disease instantly. So, the farm is built like a maximum security prison. The building is sealed with concrete. There are multiple airlocks. But the ultimate line of defense is a moat. The entire facility is surrounded by a channel of water filled with fish. If a cockroach manages to slip under a door or through a crack, it falls into the water and is immediately eaten by the fish. It is a medieval solution to a modern problem. And if that fails, there is a doomsday switch. In the event of a catastrophic breach, the facility is rigged with a fire system that will incinerate the entire building and everything inside it within minutes. They are prepared to burn it to the ground rather than let the colony escape. So, how do you feed a billion mouths? The logistics are staggering. Every morning, before dawn, a fleet of trucks arrives at the facility. They are carrying 50 tons of kitchen waste collected from the restaurants and cafeterias of the city. This is a sludge of leftover pork, spicy oils, wet rice, and vegetable peelings. In a traditional system, this waste would sit in a landfill for decades. Here, it is gone in 24 hours. The waste is dumped into a massive hopper where it is ground up into a fine paste. It is then pumped through a series of pipes that run along the ceiling of the cockroach chambers. The pipes have nozzles that spray the food sludge onto feeding trays. When the pumps turn on, the sound inside the room changes. The low hissing becomes a roar. It is the sound of millions of exoskeletons scraping against each other as they rush toward the food. A single American cockroach can eat 5% of its body weight a day. Multiply that by 1 billion, and you have a machine that devours 50 tons of organic matter every single day. They pick the trays clean. There is no leftover. There is no waste. It is the most efficient protein conversion ratio in the animal kingdom. And unlike pigs or cattle, cockroaches do not produce methane gas. They do not need acres of land. They do not need sunlight. They just need darkness and garbage. But this is still a farm. And like any farm, there must be a harvest. This is where the story turns from waste management to pure economics. The life cycle of a cockroach here is about 6 months. When the population gets too dense, or when the insects reach maturity, it is time to thin the herd. The harvesting process is mechanical and ruthless. They use a vacuum system. Large vacuums suck the insects out of the chambers. They are funneled into a washing drum where they are cleaned with boiling water. This kills them instantly and removes the grease and dirt from their shells. Then they are moved to massive industrial dryers. These are huge rotating ovens that bake the insects until they are crispy and completely dehydrated. At this point, you are looking at tons of dried, brown protein. And this brings us to the most important question. Who is buying this? You might think this is a niche business. You would be wrong. This is a multi-million-dollar industry. The cockroach empire makes money in 3 different ways. First, they get paid to take the trash. The government pays the farm a tipping fee for every ton of food waste they process, because it is cheaper than building a new landfill. They are profitable before they even sell a single bug. Second, they sell the protein. Dried cockroach powder is roughly 70% protein. It is incredibly rich in amino acids. It is sold to pig farms and fish farms across China. When you feed this powder to pigs, they grow faster and their meat becomes leaner. So, in a strange twist of the food chain, the leftover pork from a restaurant is fed to a cockroach, which is fed to a pig, which becomes pork for the restaurant again. It is the circle of life, engineered by industry. But the real money, the gold mine, is not in animal feed. It is in medicine. This is the part that usually shocks Western audiences the most. In China, the cockroach is not just a pest. It is a pharmacy. For thousands of years, traditional Chinese medicine has used dried cockroaches to treat inflammation, improve blood circulation, and heal wounds. But modern science has taken this folklore and industrialized it. The farm in Jinan, and an even larger one in Xichang, are suppliers for pharmaceutical companies. The largest facility in Xichang generates over $600 million in revenue a year. They extract a potent chemical from the insects to create a product called Kangfuxin Yi. If you walk into a pharmacy in China today, you can buy a bottle of this. It looks like tea. It smells slightly fishy and sweet. It is a liquid potion made from the extract of the American cockroach. Doctors prescribe it for stomach ulcers, respiratory problems, and even to fight tumors. The science behind it is fascinating. Cockroaches live in filth, yet they rarely get sick. Why? Because they produce powerful natural antibiotics and peptides to protect themselves. Pharmaceutical companies are harvesting these peptides to help human beings. There are also beauty clinics in Korea and China that use face masks made from pulverized cockroach powder. They claim it tightens the skin and reduces wrinkles better than collagen. So, while we recoil in horror, there are millions of patients drinking cockroach extract to cure their ulcers. The farm isn't just selling bugs. It is selling health. However, this industry is walking a razor's edge. We are talking about genetic concentration. When you pack billions of identical genetic organisms into a small space, you are creating a ticking time bomb for disease. If a virus evolved that specifically targeted the American cockroach, it could wipe out the entire facility in days. But the bigger fear is evolution. These roaches are reproducing at lightning speed. They are evolving to survive in the specific conditions of the farm. If they ever escaped, we might be introducing a super roach into the wild. One that is faster, stronger, and hungrier than anything nature intended. There is also the NIMBY factor, not in my backyard. Residents living near these farms often protest. They report a strange, sweet, rotting smell in the air on hot days. And everyone lives in constant fear of the day the walls crack. In 2013, a nursery in Jiangsu was damaged, and 1 million cockroaches escaped into the surrounding cornfields. The government had to send in teams with flamethrowers to burn the fields. It was a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. As we look at the cockroach empire, it is easy to feel disgusted. Our instinct is to look away. But we have to look at the cold, hard logic of the situation. The world is drowning in waste. We are running out of protein. We are running out of space. This farm, with all its horrors, offers a solution. Turns trash into treasure. It turns pollution into protein. It creates value out of the things we throw away. The farmers here don't see monsters. They see workers. They see a biological machine that is more efficient than any robot humans have ever invented. It forces us to ask a difficult question. As the human population grows to 10 billion, and our resources dwindle, will we have the luxury of being disgusted? Or will the future of farming look less like a green field of wheat, and more like a dark room filled with a billion hissing sounds? China has made its choice. They have embraced the cockroach. And in doing so, they have built an agricultural empire in the dark. This is extreme agriculture. Thank you for watching. If you have the stomach for it, let me know in the comments. Would you drink the healing potion if it cured your sickness? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the strange and terrifying world of global farming. Next time, we are heading to the freezing tundra to see how farmers keep cattle alive at 50 degrees below zero. You won't want to miss it. See you then.